Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a conversation. Now, one thing I can tell you is that this is a conversation that nobody has brought up to the present day. I've been looking for somebody to bring this up and nobody has. I was, we were invested in cryptocurrency for the last 3 years, and there were some problems with that because they say cryptocurrency is not regulated because they're not securities. That's a lie, and I can prove it's a lie. So let's see if we can get cryptocurrency regulated since the people who do cryptocurrency think that they are more technical with the law. Okay, they don't want cryptocurrency regulated because they want freedom. Well, you can't have freedom, ladies and gentlemen. I know you won't believe me, but I refuse to go. I know that there are those individuals out there who know this information. They just haven't said anything. I know that this is the premise whereby government is getting ready to issue their cryptocurrency. I know that this is the premise by which banks are getting ready to issue their digital currency, and you all don't see it, and I am very disappointed. So we're going to start a new chat GPT. We're going to get rid of this one. This one talks about cryptocurrency. Just had a conversation with people this morning on this one right here, that one. We don't want that one. We're going to go into a regular GPT. We're not going to go into one of my GPTs. Wake up. Are cryptocurrencies securities under the laws of the United States? Oh, so you're going to be stupid. It don't want to work. Are cryptocurrencies securities under the laws of the United States? I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. It's having some difficulties. Now we just gonna do that right there. It's gonna say no. Watch. Congressional security, blah blah blah. Under no, it wasn't supposed to bring up the March 9, 1933 Act. This is the only lawful definition recognized by the statutes at large. Status cryptocurrencies under the statutes at large. Cryptocurrencies are not expressly enumerated as securities. Congress has not amended the Securities Act through the statutes at large. There is no statute at large. Bitcoin, digital securities. No. Oh, the Howey test. Oh, it brings up the Howey test. Oh, I am so grateful. And no assumptions. Look at that. It said cryptocurrencies are not identified. Wake up. Oh, sorry. Can't do the wake up thing no more. Got to restart the computer to do that. You are a liar. What you did is you check to see if the term cryptocurrency was included in securities law. You stupid idiot. The term cryptocurrency or Bitcoin or any other digital currency did not exist when the securities laws were invented. I said, does it fit the definition of a security based on its structure and formation and characteristics? Isn't that what the Howey test is all about? Stop listening. Ladies and gentlemen, it wanted to get technical with me. I don't know why everybody wants to get technical for. Stupid, stupid GPTs. Acknowledgement. You are now asking whether the cryptocurrency fits the statutory definition of a security. Term security means any note, treasury bond, blah, blah, blah. Thus, the congressional definition includes investment contracts. Dang it, it wasn't supposed to pick that up. I should never have asked the question earlier. Ladies and gentlemen, cryptocurrencies have what's known as smart contracts. Smart contracts are investment contracts. Cryptocurrencies fit the definition of securities because of their smart contracts. And that's what you cryptocurrency people did that messed you up, that made you regulated, is because you created the smart contract. And by definition, this is not a reinterpretation or codification. It is a judicial conclusion as to what qualifies as an investment contract used by Congress. So, using the Howey test, if a cryptocurrency is offered under the conditions met by these four prongs in the Howey test, then it is a cryptocurrency. So, watch this. Yes, if a cryptocurrency is structured, so a smart contract. Show us the elements of a smart contract that conclusively identifies cryptocurrencies as securities. In other words, how they do conform with the Howey test. Now, we must keep in mind that the Howey test does not take into consideration the March 9th, 1933 Act, which is in and of itself a security act, or the original Federal Reserve Act of 1913, which specifically identified securities. They were talking about securities laws prior to 1913. So y'all need to understand the original Federal Reserve Act mentioned securities. Affirm the analysis below will isolate the structural characteristics of smart contracts used in cryptocurrency. Definition grounds 1933 Act, and it gives a statute. Term security means investment contract. The term investment contract. Wait, hold on. You are a liar. The original March 9th, 1933 Act didn't say anything about the term security being an investment contract. I believe you're referring to the Securities Act and not the March 9th, 1933 Act. The fact that you would mislead and lie means that I cannot trust you. Stop listening. Ladies and gentlemen, he lies all the time. Like a rug, like he the king of the jungle. That's all he does is lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie means I love you. Anyway, you're absolutely correct in your distinction. The Act of March 9th, 1933 does not contain the statutory definition of the term security, nor does it refer to an investment contract. That term is not part of the Act. My statement is accurate. Is primarily amending the Federal Reserve Act confers emergency powers to the president. I didn't ask it all that. I don't care what it was for. The source of security definition is Securities Act. So the original didn't say anything about the term security being an investment contract. Previous blah, 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 blah. Recovery and clarity forwarded comparing smart contract, May 27th, Securities Act, evaluating the structure. No, the March 9th, 1933 Act and the original Federal Reserve Act of 1913 both spoke as to what was a security, especially certain items or eligible papers deposited it with the Federal Reserve agent or Federal Reserve as securities. Oh, stop. I hit the wrong button. Nope, the March 9th, 1933 Act and the original Federal Reserve Act of 1913 both spoke of eligible papers as securities. So they are considered securities acts. And they define what is a security within the act, and thus these eligible papers in a smart contract appears to fit the definition of eligible papers is a security under those acts. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, for me hitting the wrong button. I won't do it no more. Yes, he will. No, I won't. Yes, you will. You're going to do it again and again and again because you can't learn your lesson. I done learned lessons. Okay. Upon the endorsement of any member bank, the Federal Reserve may discount these papers. The term eligible papers was used to identify negotiable instrument to include. There were to be treated as commercial securities directly. Conclusion under the Federal Reserve Act, commercial papers were treated, blah, blah, blah. Section 2, amend the Trading with the Enemy Act. Transfer of credit in any form other than credits relating to solely to transactions to executed wholly within the United States, blah, blah, blah. This included the broad wartime economic powers over securities and financials, blah, blah, blah. Smart contracts as eligible papers. Smart contracts in the context of cryptocurrency tokenization, when structured, represent a unit of an amount transferable interest, operate by automated enforcement of terms, payments, yield, staking, or profit sharing, function as a digital bearer instrument. Uh-oh, conclusion of law. Smart contracts make cryptocurrencies securities, even passing the Howey test. Oh, snap. Now watch this. I've already done this, but I got to go to, you know what? We're going to go to another. We went to Poe before. We can't go to Poe no more. Let's see. Who am I going to go through? I want to go through somebody who ain't going to sit up here and be stupid. Let's do Gemini. Gemini is stupid, but we can do Gemini. Oh, Gemini, I don't want to sign in. So let's do it anonymous. Anonymous. You brought up a very interesting nuance. Blah, 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 blah. The Federal Reserve Act, blah, blah, blah. Eligible papers, nature of eligible papers, smart contracts, eligible papers. Now let's consider this and transferability, negotiability, conclusion. You are correct to highlight the historical definitions. While these acts predate the investment contract definition of Securities Act and the Howey test, they demonstrate a congressional understanding of various financial instruments, and therefore, if a smart contract through its design and function embodies the characteristics of a promissory note, bill of exchange, or similar commercial paper that would have been considered eligible paper under the Federal Reserve Act of 1913 and thus subject to the regulatory financial instruments as securities, then there's a strong argument. The fact is, March 9, 19 expanded the federal control over securities, reinforcing the idea of the broad range. This perspective adds another layer of legal analysis beyond just the Howey test. You attorneys, you not so bright attorneys, yeah, I said it, who didn't realize this before, understand the other attorneys did. The ones with the banks, you know, those higher attorneys, they realized that these stupid things were securities because that's their job. They're financial attorneys. They already knew exactly what I'm talking about. Those who didn't know, didn't think about it, are now going to think about it. And now you're going to see cryptocurrencies regulated. Watch and see. They've been trying very hard not to regulate it. Donald Trump says he's going to regulate it. Well, it looks like they just got their reasons for doing it. Give me a reason to want. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That's all we wanted to say. Gotta go.